So it's very nice to see all of you offline. I know there are also online broadcasting, but it's not very easy to have such event happen offline in nowadays. I think like everybody will enjoy the face-to-face discussion and the sharing of all of our speakers. Yeah, so I guess you all know the whole event this time is under the overall theme of design and technology, and also like how technology can empowering or be utilized in design. Our talk in this session, I would say, is the most futuristic one under this overall theme because it's about the metaverse and the future. So I was told part of my duty is to introduce our guest speakers, and we already have a very brief one, very brief introduction. So I think maybe you want to introduce yourself more related to this topic. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I will start first. Yes, thank you for introduction and inviting me to give this discussion. First of all, my name is Leon, so I'm founder and design director at our studio LKDN, which is based in Shanghai and London. And for like the last 1.5 years or so, we are focusing on Metaverse projects. We are the Metaverse world creators. For those who don't know what's Metaverse World Creators is basically architects and designers and artists who build the Metaverse. And so basically we create environments, we create architecture, we create even some parts of the open worlds for Metaverse, we create assets. Assets in Metaverse terms, assets is basically any virtual object that can belong to you. You can buy it and own it and so on. So for example, like we create like a whole collection of avatars for Metaverse. It's like 1,000 avatars, so people can buy it and use it in Metaverse. We create vehicles for Metaverse, like people can use and play like in a game on those vehicles. And also we create lots of other things like spaces, architecture, and art objects, NFT art, and so on and so forth. So it's like a lot of things. We are working with Metaverse platforms directly, and also we work for clients to do something on Metaverse. And we consult also Metaverse platforms to help them to create a better experience for users.
Well, okay, this is Mr. Fezia. I was working on lighting design in Shanghai. There are so many towers, skyscrapers with the brilliant lighting, color changing features. And this is what I was doing exactly for almost 20 years. And now I am trying to explore some new ideas coming from some multimedia application I was dealing with last year already, always in Shanghai, and give me this sense that Metaverse, a new frontier, could be something very serious to explore for designers, because Metaverse is really needing to be built almost from zero. Already many things existing, but this was rising up my attention, so I'm getting close to it very recently.
Hi, thank you for having me. And my name is Chiara. I am the CEO and co-founder of Doris Was Not Meat, which is a no-profit organization on a blockchain. So what that means is we are trying to leverage blockchain technology to support a charity and charitable events with focus on dogs, rescue dogs. We find the opportunity of the metaverse incredible for charities, and so we are trying to rethink and reframe charities in a way that is supporting and releasing volunteers and NGOs overall from financial pressure, and really leverage communities and creators to bring new revenue streams, so that the volunteers and those in the charity world can really focus on what they do best, which is, in our case, helping dogs. There is a lot more to it, but in a nutshell, it's really try to bring a world problem into the metaverse, and trying to use technology that metaverse and blockchain is offering us to solve this problem. So that's me.
I think, all of you having more detailed introduction, you already answered some of the questions I prepared. So I guess like maybe I would like to see whether you can introduce more about maybe some examples how you think the new technology like the blockchain and not only Metaverse but other things like Web3D, blockchain can bring to our creative community and further to our real community as the society. I'm quite curious about the activities you are initiating.
Sure. So I think first point I'd like to make here is that the metaverse itself is not a new concept. So, we start reading about metaverse 13 years ago. Neil Stefanos was talking about metaverse when there was a human interacting with a pre-programmed avatar. So the concept of metaverse is not new, but what is new is the application that this technology we have today is bringing to people, right? So in our case, our project is creating right now NFTs to connect NFTs to real dogs. So we are taking dogs from shelters and we are bringing each dog to an NFT so that people can sponsor a dog in the real world. More they provide in terms of sponsorship to the real dogs in the real world, more the NFT that they can mint later when the dogs get rehomed will gain value in the blockchain. Because they will add features to the NFT. And I'm not sure how much the audience here is familiar with the NFTs, but I believe everyone has a minimum understanding to know that NFTs are unique tokens, and those tokens can unlock things, right? So in our case, our tokens, so our NFTs will unlock a rescue economy, which we are trying to create. So our rescue economy will basically empower and facilitate the shelters in the real world to provide food for dogs or provide a training program so that those dogs that's been abused maybe in the past can be rehabilitated and then be rehomed and they can go in a family. So this is really a pilot project for us to show how there is an intersection between the metaverse and the real world. So when we think about the metaverse 30 years ago and then 10 years ago, we think of science fiction and then we think about video games, right? Today, we are thinking about these intersections between, this world that is 3D and virtual through the use of AI or rendering and so many other tools that we have available, but intersect with the everyday reality. So this is really important, and this is, I think, what we see in the charity world. We see a lot of projects, which is wonderful projects that are coming more and more up, and whether that is to save the ocean, and you can buy a piece of garbage in the ocean, and then in the real world somebody will take a piece of garbage away, or whether there is a content creator that are supporting people with Alzheimer by using metaverse to empathize and bring the experience that people with the Alzheimer or dementia has, so that you can really bridge the gap, right, between what real world cannot reach and what you can now see and experience in a metaverse world. We are not there yet, it's the beginning, but what is showing is that there are a lot of new opportunity for business modeling. So you can now really reframe problems or revenue stream and bring creators into this new world and in a decentralized way. So I think before, you had the big guys like the Facebook, the Google, or you had, you name it, like Spotify. Those are centralized systems that are facilitating the creators. But now you have creators that by themselves can, come together and in a decentralized way, bring to life big ideas, right? That before they could not bring to life because they needed the big guys to help. And now they can do it by themselves because there is the tools. So I think in a nutshell, to answer your question, I think it's really like is opportunities as I bring in big idea to life, through the technology. That's the opportunity that we have today.
Yeah, so everybody can really contribute to the overall whole network.
Yes.
I think like this is also very interesting and helpful to think about those specific things which can have the distributed property. Last time I reviewed the portfolio of a student, he was thinking about using the blockchain to support very heavy teaching material.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite off compared with the example you just mentioned, like there are so many people and so many things distributed, and they can be reconnected through the blockchain and also through the conjunction between the virtual and the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to really find the point where we can leverage the new technology.
And I think that's a good point also on the blockchain side. I think for us, we are a charity, right? And I think what the blockchain is doing for us is also like bringing transparency. So I think this is two level. Like, so you have synergies, and you now can make things happen quicker, and because there is communications, but there is transparency. You can see and follow where things goes and how they happen. So I think for charity is great because now you can trust where money goes, for example. But for creators or for even like inventory for companies is also great because now you can see how much you have or whatever you bring, and that brings efficiency. So it's a lot of opportunities.
Also, there are so many activities bottom up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Chiara just talk about some idea from the business or the economy side. I want to ask Gabriela one question from the design side. I just heard you were talking about you like the metaverse is a very neat, maybe virtual but very neat environment or space, maybe for designer to express their design concept or have a virtual thing which can be much easier to establish. I don't know whether that's what you like about the metaverse. Maybe you can talk about how that means for designers and architects.
Yes, it's just considering that this metaverse is still a work in progress. So everything, or a lot of things, needs to be designed, built up, other than a physical delimitation of the spaces and the object running around, cars, bicycles, people. Everything should need to be designed. So it's a huge effort we probably have to face in this sense. So for a frontier, for new designers, I have a huge positive feeling about that. And not only, because the good thing is, like I like to thought about the internet when in the 70s appear up. And there is a big literature about what internet will become, or what kind of advantage the world will have. And many expression and study and scientists, all the foreseen has been completely disattended. Meaning that we cannot really foresee now what the metaverse will evolve in the afterwards years. And that's the nice part. So we have plenty of power and potential to direct the effort and create something new. And designers are having the most consistent part in this.
So you mentioned about many years ago when the internet started. I still remember it was in 2008 or 09. There's once, by that time I was at IBM Research. We were all very exciting about we called 3D web, which is actually pretty similar to what we are talking about right now. As Metaverse, like inside IBM Research, we even had a global, I would say like a global research meeting with the director and everybody else with our avatar inside the second world. I remember it was Second Life. Yeah, we had
That's the beginning of Metaverse.
Yeah.
Kind of.
We had our global meeting in Second Life, and even within the research, many people are trying to work on projects about 3D web, but I don't know what specific reason it all stops. There are many explorations also very similar to both the Metaverse and the Zoom, 3D Zoom kind of online meeting over that time. But for this time, I can feel some difference, maybe because of the keep changing and upgrading technology. It seems to be more coming to us compared with last time.
That's why we seriously set up a space where you can find all the elements inside a metaverse, from 3D modeling and appearance up to an artist doing some special art using VR and brushing and creating something very fancy. So that in this space we have, we want people have the perception of staying into the metaverse. And then this maybe can push them much easily to experience the metaverse in reality in the web, or in the web 3, whatever we want to call it.
To get more familiar, having more like physical perception.
Yes, for me it's like
somebody
somebody or myself, unless I can really touch or experience straight something, probably I will not go easy for that, and then bit complicated, okay, next time, thank you very much. No? But because the VR visual are not in every house. This is the reality. And even the use of computer and tablet or telephone, cell phone is not enough to give you the complete experience. So people need to be driven inside to see what is the feeling in the reality of living inside a metaverse.
I agree that in the way that metaverse, the best metaverse experience right now can be in virtual reality, and like when you see it on the screen or on the mobile or on the screen of your desktop, that's not immersive enough for experience metaverse. And actually, when you see metaverse on a flat screen, it doesn't excite you as much as immersive experience. So definitely, I think AR, VR, and coupled with power of AI, artificial intelligence, I think that's definitely it will boost a lot metaverse development, and it will help us to blend the boundary between physical reality and metaverse.
So you think that would be the future, or the you will think as the most authentic metaverse was the Google was the VR glass or the HoloLens?
I think right now the experience it in VR is the most immersive way, but I think the technology and efforts of designers and artists, I think eventually to blend the two worlds together, so there will be no noticeable boundary between the two, so that because at the moment what I see the problem is like for people to get into metaverse, they have this kind of barrier, but it's a barrier in your head actually. But also it's part of the barrier in terms of technology, accessibility and technology. So I think once this boundary will be removed, it's like a language barrier, you know, like you're trying to talk to a person and you don't know each other language, and it's kind of difficult to communicate with each other. So the same here, but I think gradually this barrier will be going away more and more, and there will be very easy transfer between metaverse and reality, and there will be no such a thing like a clear distinction between the two, you know. So I think, in my opinion, metaverse will become an extension of our real life, a kind of natural extension, like we have social media experiences all the time, every day, like some people like hours a day. Yeah, it's already like a part of our life, extension of our lives. The same will be, in my opinion, happening with metaverse. It's just like a matter of maybe some years, maybe a few years. I don't know yet.
Yeah, that's interesting idea. It's like also the remote working support already also become our extension of our offline working. Yeah, when we were chatting before the panel, you also talk about when we are designing and building the metaverse, it's better not make it as a mimic or a mirror of the reality. So what would you like to say more about this idea about how to make the metaverse more unique or more leveraging the virtual aspect of it?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, and thank you for asking that, because like we as metaverse creators, we face issues quite often when clients come to us and they say, so here we have a museum, like in Berlin or somewhere, whatever. Could you make a 3D model and put it on Metaverse? And it's like 80 or 90% of requests are like that. And I feel there is like a big misunderstanding of from clients what Metaverse is and what it is for. So it's not just like modeling a space that exists in reality and put it on Metaverse. It just doesn't make sense. So like, why do we need the same thing on Metaverse? Where on Metaverse there are different laws of physics even. You know, there's the gravity doesn't exist on Metaverse. There's lots of other things that you cannot do in physical reality and you can do on Metaverse. For example, if you want to build a building made of light or made of water, you can do it. So if you want to like fly on Metaverse without a helicopter or like just using your body, you can do it on Metaverse. Yeah, so like when you realize that the way you move on Metaverse can be very different, the way you occupy space, the way you perceive the space is very different on Metaverse. So here the problem is that how can you expand your consciousness beyond your limitations of physical reality? And we as architects and designers, we are also kind of having issue to open our mind, because for many years, apart from education as well, for many years we are imposed with a lot of limitations, like budget limitation, materials, structures, logistics of bringing some components or elements of the design or building and so on, and time limitation and many other limitations that are imposed on us. And because of that, and we are kind of in these limitations for many years, like working through these limitations and trying to deal with them, it kind of solidifies in our mind that, it's like a automatic kind of automatic reaction that we need to do on Metaverse something like on physical reality, because we have limitations of this and this. But actually, no, we don't have those limitations. So we need to remove those boundaries in our mind and start rethinking. Like, for example, if we design something on Metaverse, like a chair, for example, yeah, or we're designing a house on Metaverse. So what is house of Metaverse? Is it like a house that we live in a physical reality, or is it something different? Should it stand on the ground, or should it fly in the air? You know, or should it have walls, or it shouldn't have walls? You know, so these kind of questions we have to ask ourselves and redefine what are those things that we're doing on Metaverse, how they can be different from physical reality.
I think this is an excellent point, and I want to totally agree and say thank you for bringing this up, because I think there is a huge mistake, right? Like, people do things that Metaverse is the 3D version of reality, right? And what actually people are missing the point is the opportunity that Metaverse is opening up in regards to building on reality to open new opportunities. So that means reframing, space, reframing music, reframing, fashion, anything, right? And I think, for example, like, if you think of it, like even a dog in a Metaverse, that dog doesn't need to look like a dog in a Metaverse, like in a real world. Like, that dog can become an intelligent dog and can, support humans in a different way.
How you see it from your heart.
Yeah, but it can be, exactly, but it can, it can become like something that maybe like in our real world, it would be like a mix between a Pokemon Go and a Fitbit, but now, you bring this to life, and this dog can actually really like help you to overcome real problems, right? And this is just an application for an animal. But, I think when you think about spaces, right? How do you reimagine like a living space, like a house? It doesn't necessarily need to have a living room and a kitchen, right? It can be rethought in a different way and can have different applications. When you think of that, new things can happen. Also when you think about urban planning, cities can start developing on trees, or, and when you then bring that into the real world, that's where you have the mixed reality, right? So then I think it's the point I was making, is when you have real world mixing with the virtual world, and these boundaries are kind of like coming together and blending to each other. And so imagine for brands as well, like you walking around and all of a sudden, like you can, go a level deeper into understanding what is behind, whatever it is that you see in the real world, because in the virtual world, you will start having informations and a different depth and a different dimensions of that object. So I totally agree. I think people that see this as just a 3D world of the real world is kind of like, don't really see the opportunity that we have today. Yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember 2 months ago when I visited Ouyang World, 51 World, one of the company who are focused on digital twin, and also they have a new product line for Metaverse. And the manager of the product line is actually just like don't know what to say about whoever build the environment. He just feels it's too strictly close to reality, but he cannot feel the futuristic or any high-tech feeling. But that's only from the how it looks or how he feels. But actually, for metaverse or virtual world, it can have things which has its strengths. We can even leverage more. I remember when I was working on 2 projects using Java 3D. That was like back in 2001. When I was working on that, those 2 projects. One was to develop an online gallery for a famous photographer. Even though the tool at that time is very limited, but we were trying to think about how to let an audience to kind of like to walk through the history of the content of the photos instead of to put the photos in the 3D space, but just to go through the scene more like in a film. And also there's another project we were trying to enable the users to sculpt the space from inside to push and pull back and forth of those controlling points. So those are things the virtual, the digital domain can enable us and to help us to communicate and to express. I think maybe that can be even more than just make building more fancy or more high-tech. That's some of the clients already required, but we can maybe think about more expansions leveraging the
absolutely.
power.
Even here today, you know, in IDI, I guess like, you know, if the same space now you could like bring like the VR and AR, you know, into it, right?
Yeah.
And now you could go deep into, you know, the experiences that we now see in the offline world. You know, all of a sudden you have a multidimensional, you know, time that it will be really immersive and therefore like it will really allow you to get deeper and to learn more and to know more and to interact more and then to have more opportunity from that. So
online, offline.
Online, offline, yeah. So yeah, I think before we used to talk about the online and offline, and when you were a brand, you were talking brand to consumer communication, then became consumer to consumer communication, and now it's like creator to consumer, creator to creator. So all of a sudden, you know, this multi-dimension is forming and is becoming bigger and bigger and multifaceted. And I think that it's really the opportunity for creator, for designers, for business people, for brand to really like merge and bring to life new ideas. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I think I'm not following the instructions of 2 questions every speakers. So maybe I think this, as I mentioned, this is very great to have this face-to-face opportunity. I'm wondering whether from our audience there will be any questions to our speakers.
Yes.
Jenny?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Alexander. You said about creators, designers. So the question about it and about science and technology. Today we have a lot of research institutes, universities, which make some creations in science. But nobody knows about it. What do you think? Is it possible that Metaverse can be the place that can connect the researchers, scientists, designers, and finders from companies? Is it possible?
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible, and I think it's an excellent question. I think especially for education and for research, Metaverse, it's a wonderful place because it's optimized cost. So first of all, like you can you can explore application of things that in the real world will be really expensive or maybe not even possible. And now technology allow us to just try those things. But then also like it helps you to bring a community around those projects, right? And so those communities can be found easier by brands and by those people or those organizations that actually have money to spend and can easily identify those projects that either can match the company values or the company roadmap even, and therefore they can just plug in. So I think, it's like similarly to 20 years ago where internet kind of made the world a little bit smaller so everybody could connect. I think the metaverse is making the research easier. And for those people who have big ideas but don't have maybe the money or even the university, have the potential to support, can now easily do crowdfunding and bring brands in to try to bring those projects to life because you can already see applications in a quicker way because of the technology. So yeah, the answer is I think definitely huge opportunities for those researchers and university to connect to real businesses to be funded and bring to life projects quicker.
Yeah, I agree with Chiara, and I would like to contribute a little bit to also her answer, maybe a little bit into detail. So, like, for example, gaming technology is the kind of core behind the technology of Metaverse. And actually, gaming technology is very powerful, and it's not only for games. It's also very powerful for simulations, including scientific simulations, including some other, even like movie industry using gaming technology in special effects and so on. So this gaming technology is so powerful that it can help to really help scientists to visualize, test, and simulate digitally their research and their kind of hypothesis on something. And actually simulations, those virtual simulations, they help a lot to understand something, and that could be used on Metaverse as well. So like Metaverse and gaming technology, they can be hand in hand to help scientists and researchers to virtually test their ideas before they become physical.
Thank you. This, I believe, in all the talks that we are having here in Italian Design Icons is one of the most avant-garde, let's say it like this. Thank you, our speaker. Please, big round of applause to you guys. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk money, okay? Because I believe that you are trying to make it as easy as possible, but it's really complicated to do the pitching to the client, right? To explain. Or you show something like this. I believe this is Dubai. I don't know.
That's me in the metaverse. That's my avatar. See, same color hair. That's how you want to look like. That's me.
Here we have some similarities. Really cool. The name of your company, by the way. And so, how you do the pitching to the client, and how complicated it is to realize these projects, because we want to do this in Italian Design Icon. This is the first steps, but to become this into metaverse reality. So the pitching and the transformation, and right? Maybe should be also some teaching somewhere. Please, it's an open question for all three of you.
So can you rephrase the question, how we deal with pitching for clients?
Yes. How do you explain? Because it's complicated.
Imagine he's the client.
Yeah.
Next year Metaverse.
Yeah.
How would you pitch him?
Because you said right. I was 3D. I saw it. It's cool. We put some and after you tell me, no, it's not like that. And then I say, so let's do it. And after, how long it takes, which one is a project, and so let's go into it.
Okay, I will
All of
try
you.
to answer a question from our side, from our studio, because yeah, we do really pitch our ideas to clients, but I mean, not like more ideas, but actually sometimes we need to do education for clients because before they kind of understand, okay, this is what they can do on Metaverse. So sometimes we give them a kind of a presentation of what is possible, what we did, what we can do. So people a little bit open their mind regarding the Metaverse. So it's a little bit of an aspect of education to clients that needs to be done for regarding the Metaverse. Because as you know, the subject is very new and very fresh, especially like for general public. So you need to really educate them a little bit before they understand and they choose you as a kind of a person to work or a studio to work with. And also you need to show the works that are on Metaverse. So kind of because sometimes our clients ask, what did you do on Metaverse already before? What companies and what you realized and how was the experience and how was the feedback of audience. So this is kind of the questions we sometimes asked by clients, and we really need to show them our actual work, which is quite a lot actually we have. And some of it is done in the form of like capturing videos from those Metaverse projects, and we just upload them on YouTube and show to clients. Or on Instagram, on other social media, or sometimes we just show the portfolio of those Metaverse projects so that people understand what we have done already. So I think for clients quite important to see and know what you have already done for Metaverse clients or Metaverse projects. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think for me, I think it's first of all, is like, what is the objective, right, that you want to achieve with the Metaverse? And I think back to what we talked about earlier, is like Metaverse is a complex and is a complex word, but it's also like a multifaceted one. So you can do a lot of things. In a place like this, if let's say next year we wanted to bring IDI into the Metaverse, right, I think it will be about going deeper into the experiences of the brands that you are bringing here from Italy, and how do we bring Italy into this space, and the brands, and the artists, and the communities within that. So now you can start bringing synergies between brands and communities and creators. And if you ask about budgets, you know, it's really about, you know, there is it can go from 0 to 100, like millions, like, but it could, you could rent a space in a, so everyone now is trying to buy land in a Metaverse, right? And I would say, okay, don't buy the land, because you probably, actually, I would, if you have the money, buy the land. It's a great investment, I think. But if you cannot buy the land, I would say, okay, rent land in a Metaverse, bring this experience there, like for 2 days, 3 days, and then connect communities, you know, using the different platforms that people are familiar with, so the more traditional ones, you know, the Instagram, or if it's outside of China or whatever, but then, you know, use blockchain technology like NFT, for example, to give people special I don't know, like passes. Like, so for example, if you had a space like this on the Metaverse and you could give the NFT of today's event, you know, maybe people can unlock, can have like special consumption of special content from Vespa, or, you know, any of Maserati and so on. So I think it's about renting, step one, rent a space, get somebody to you know, build the word, a designer to build their words into that Metaverse, do an NFT collection that unlocks content and brings community of those brands that you have here together to really give a deeper, immersive experience. And that brings value, you know, because to be on a Metaverse just as a 3D versions of today is not going to do anything for you, but probably for nobody else either. So I think you want to add value by unlocking experiences or informations or, you know, commercial use even, right? And then I think you start creating a community, and that is not very expensive to do. I mean, it's not free, but it's not, you know, impossible to achieve, and yeah.
From my side, I am into the artist application. So let's say the artists coming up with us. We can invite them, and they are cooperating in our space. What they can get is a new set of tools to produce and express their piece of art that are unseen before. Before, they cannot do that. And then there is Zhu Pei Hong, a big artist, come over with a strange machine and the VR visor, and he start brushing, uses this virtual reality visor, compone these huge sculptures that is all arranged and done by using these tools in the VR, virtual reality. And then it makes for real. You just produce, wrap it up, and they are inflatable with lighting inside, and we host in our exhibition. So that's our effort. Give to the artist that shouldn't only use a simple brush to create their piece of art. Some tool that before are simply not available. And from their side, there is a big reaction because they say, well, that's very interesting. So I can express 100% of my perception of what I am willing to display, and not only 20% or 50%, because the paper and a simple brush cannot express 100%. They are certainly happy about this kind of new way to express for artists.
Yeah, I think also, apart from expression, I think also it's an unprecedented opportunity for artists to show their work to the world on Metaverse, because that's kind of a lot of artists were facing this problem, how they can show their work. They showing in some galleries, it takes a lot of time and money and sponsors and so on. But on Metaverse, they finally have this way to show their work for free and to a big amount of audience, right? So this is like an amazing opportunity, especially for digital artists or for those who can digitalize their work and bring it into Metaverse. It's an amazing opportunity to finally show it in an easy way and for free.
Yeah. And then the artist.
Okay, so we are just the time. I don't know. Yeah, so if everybody have more questions, we can chat face to face to our speakers. And before that, I just also want to add one more example. Like you talk about the how to pitch the business or branding type of client and artistic expressions. For our practice, we also work with hospitals or other clients who have more from service design point of view to solve their problems. Say, for example, we have one Metaverse project which won the #1 prize yesterday to help a brain science center to build their Metaverse, which does not exist in reality because they have many different clinical departments and collaborators all over the world. So they really need a virtual physical one to show everything they are working on and to have their own virtual space to meet with each other, which will not be possible in reality. We also use that center to provide the remote kind of like the first round checking about the patients and to guide them to the the right experts for their offline doctor visiting. And also after you get back home, it can be used to be as a platform for long-term continuous tracking and maintenance of their status. So it's more for a practical problem-solving type of platform, also both suitable for their situation of lacking the physical space or impossible to have a physical space worldwide, and also for the brain type of disease, which are very long-term and which cannot be totally cured. So I think that's also another type of things Metaverse can help.
The most meaningful one, I would say.
No, I know.
Actually, recently we were asked, about, like you mentioned, hospitals, and we recently were asked by some company a very interesting idea, actually. So they are designing a hospital for children, and they are thinking to integrate AI avatars for children to allow them to experience hospital in a less frightening way, so that the children can feel more kind of better and more friendly experience in hospitals, having avatars as their companions to kind of take them through this kind of stress that they have experienced usually in hospitals. And this is kind of a very cool idea, I think. And yes, to help children with avatars and avatar technology and AI technology to help them feel less stressful in hospital. I think this is a great idea, which is avatars actually from Metaverse. It's a part of Metaverse, because on Metaverse your identity is your avatar. So yeah.
We see that with dementia as well. Like Metaverse, it's really helping, or it's the initial of research, but it's really helping and stimulate people with dementia to overcome the gaps that they have when they enter in their summer. So I think the medical application, with Metaverse, it's wonderful, and it's very hopeful that a lot of things we were not able to solve today, maybe Metaverse can facilitate and help, and that would be for children, dementia, older people, people with mental health. It's really meaningful and wonderful, and I hope we will see this very quickly, and will accelerate, and hopefully with businesses investing into this, we will see a better world soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks again for all our guest speakers.